Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I am going to take FA4 portion for Standard 4. In that first we are going to see recording and communicating knowledge. First we are going to see when we have any idea or thought, we express, we can store in mind. But if we store in the written form, it can be preserved for a longer time. So first, how did the early mans used? They used signs and symbols and pictures to store their knowledge. First, we are going to see how the written communication came into existence. The early humans, they used pictorial form to represent they used to use the pictures to communicate. You can see that in the caves, many pictures were discovered. But pictures took a lot of time to draw. So later on, they used signs and symbols instead of pictures. The Sumerians of Mesopotamia, now the present Iraq, they were the first to use the signs and symbols to develop script. This script is nothing but a system of writing a language. So these Sumerians of Mesopotamia, they used blocks of clays in which the pictures and symbols were represented. These blocks of clays were called as tablets. Many tablets has been discovered. Similar way, the Egyptian, they also used pictures and symbols to develop they also developed it some 5,000 years ago. Similar way, the Chinese and the Japanese, they also have in their script many pictures and symbols, and they are using it now also. Now we can see that we are using alphabets. What are alphabets? Alphabets are nothing but symbols or signs which are given sounds produced by the human beings. So this now today in the world there are more than 50 alphabets, 50 types of alphabets that we are using. So now there are more than 50 types of scripts of alphabets that we are using. The Roman alphabets is used for the English language. There are totally 26 alphabets in the English language. In ancient India, the oldest civilization, that is the Indus Valley civilization, you can find in the seals the script. But that was not being able to read by anyone. Later on, the Brahmi script was discovered. This Brahmi script was readable, and from this Brahmi script only, all the other Indian languages have been originated. The southern languages, also the northern languages, all has been derived from the Brahmi script only. Now next we are going to see writing numbers. Writing numbers, the early humans, they used sticks and stones to count numbers. How many animals they have or how many animals they have killed. But later on, the Romans, they developed the Roman numerals. This Roman numerals consisted of 7 symbols. With these 7 symbols, they were able to write numbers from 1 to 10 lakhs. Later on, our ancient Indian mathematician Aryabhatta discovered zero. After the invention of zero, there was a revolution in the number system. Nearly 2000 years ago, the number system was developed in India. The number system that present we are using is known as the Hindu-Arabic system. The Arabs carried this number system from here to the Europe. It consists of 10 symbols, that is from 0 to 9. With this 10 symbols, you can write as many numbers as you can, or how much ever larger the number can be written with the help of this number. Then paper. First, the Egyptian made paper with the help of papyrus. Papyrus is nothing but a water plant which is grown in Africa. From the stem of the tree, they made paper. The name paper came from the word papyrus only. Later on, in China, they used the bark of the tree. they made a pulp out of the bark of the tree and they spread it into a thin sheet and they let it dry. Afterwards, it became as a thin sheet of paper and they used for writing. Now, what the paper we are used, it is made from wood pulp. So, after the papers were discovered, many books were written manually and we were able to read many books. Next, we are going to see printing. Printing. First, in China, they used the blocks used for printing. How did they use it? The blocks are wooden blocks in that the pictures were drawn and the pictures were applied ink and they pressed it on the paper. In this way, they used the block printing for printing the books. But this was a tedious process and they required to make lot of blocks. So, next, John Gutenberg in Germany, he invented printing machine. What he did, he made small metal chips which consist of various alphabets. These were called as types. These types were joined together to form words or sentences. They were called as typesetting. So, according to the book which they have to print, they used to typeset a page. And this typeset was used for printing many papers. After the book was, after they finished printing the books, they used to dismantle the typeset and again for another book, they used to rearrange the typeset. This is how the printing started. Next, we can see, we can read. But what about the visually challenged people? They cannot see. They can only feel. So, the Braille, a script of writing for the blind, was invented by Louis Braille from France. He himself was a blind person. Later on, how is the Braille script written? The Braille script is written in a piece of paper with raised dot on the paper. So, the blind people, when they touch the surface of the paper, they will feel the dots. The various numbers and alphabets, for one dot it might be A, two dot it might be B, like this arrangement of dots, they have represent the various alphabets and the numbers. So, by touching the hands or feeling the dots on the surface of the paper, they are able to read. Next, knowledge and literacy and progress. How these are interlinked. See, if knowledge, how do we get knowledge? If we read, we get knowledge. So, if a country wants to progress, means the people in the country should be literate. But in India, literate people means those people who know to read and write. But in India, many people are still illiterate. They don't know how to read and write. So, if a country is literate, the knowledge will be spread to many people and indirectly the nation will progress. So, for India to develop, we should make all the people in India to be literate.